Man City 2-3 Tottenham. Player ratings as Spurs edge Premier League Classic. Tottenham produced one of the shocks of the season as they stunned champions Manchester City to win 3-2 at the Etihad Stadium. Harry Kane, linked heavily with a move to City in the summer, scored twice and had another ruled out to steal the show on Saturday evening. Spurs took a fourth-minute lead when Kane slipped Son Heung-min in behind, and with Ederson advancing quickly, the South Korean unselfishly squared for Dejan Kulusevski to roll into the City net. Joao Cancelo came close to finding an equalizer after weaving through the challenges of Kulusevski and Emerson Royal, but his curling strike went the wrong side of the far post. Next in line to take aim at the Spurs goal was Ilkay Gundogan, finding the post despite the ball being trapped under his feet as he fired. Cancelo sliced another chance before Phil Foden's shot was blocked by the shins of Ben Davies, while a cross-coom shot from Kevin De Bruyne fell into the grateful arms of Hugo Lloris. Tottenham looked threatening on the counter-attack, with Kane nearly releasing Son again and Emerson firing over from the edge of the City box. City found an equalizer just after the half-hour mark when Lloris spilled a tentative cross and Gundogan was on hand to slam into the net. The hosts continued to dominate the ball but Spurs defended diligently, with the next real chance coming to Son after half-time. The forward was again picked out on the counter by Kane, but after being marshalled by City's defenders, shot straight into the arms of Ederson. And Tottenham retook the lead after an hour when Son's inch-perfect cross was turned into the top corner by Kane. Spurs were unlucky not to add a third soon after when Son found Kane once more, but Ederson made a great sprawling save to deny the England captain. Lloris atoned for his earlier error by producing a top stop to meet Gundogan's effort from distance, while Bernardo Silva was put off striking the ball cleanly on multiple occasions by Christian Romero. Kane had the ball in the net once again with 20 minutes remaining, but after a lengthy VAR check, the goal was ruled out for an offside against Kulusevski in the build-up. Buoyed on by that decision, City came close again through Cancelo, forcing Lloris into another stretching save. With stoppage time looming, City had appeals for a penalty for a handball against Romero turned down, but the decision was overturned after a VAR check, and the hosts had a lifeline. Substitute Riyad Mahrez stepped up and emphatically fired into the roof of the net as they looked to have taken a point. But would you believe it, the drama wasn't done there. Kulusevski's lofty cross deep into the 7 minutes of time added on was met by the rising Kane, who headed down and into Ederson's net to snatch the win. Ederson, GK, 7/10, actually positioned himself well to force Son to square it to Kulusevski for the opener and produced a huge stop to deny Kane in the second half. Kyle Walker, RB, 7/10, the England international was near enough flawless, particularly in transition, until Kane dunked on him in the 96th minute. Ruben Dias, CB, 3/10, by his own standards, this was a ropey and uncomfortable game for Dias. Laporte, CB, 6/10, more assured than his partner despite historically dropping stinkers in this fixture. Joao Cancelo, LB, 8/10, essentially played as a winger and tormented Tottenham's backline. Rodri, DM, 5/10, recycled possession but lacked a cutting edge when asked to play higher when chasing the game. Kevin De Bruyne, CM, 6/10, quietly impressive in midfield, though not one of his best games all the same. Ilkay Gundogan, CM, 7/10, continued his exploits as a goal-scoring midfielder. Bernardo Silva, RW, 4/10, lots of neat touches and dribbles without really threatening Lloris. Phil Foden, CF, 2/10, scarcely involved at all. Raheem Sterling, LW, 5/10, created some havoc with his amazing runs into the box, but little in the way of directly harming Spurs' goal. Riyad Mahrez, RW, 68 for Sterling, 7/10, nerves of steel from the spot. Hugo Lloris, GK, 6/10, another horrendous error, but also made a string of smart saves. Christian Romero, CB, 8/10, supreme. Clearly Tottenham's best defender already, despite his late handball. Eric Dyer, CB, 7/10, slotted back in well, though his distribution wasn't amazing. Ben Davies, CB, 7/10, City pressed Davies into a series of errant passes, though crucially did play a part in the opener. Emerson Royal, RWP, 5/10, another rough game for Emerson, who was torn inside out by Cancelo. Looked much more confident in the second half. Rodrigo Bentancur, CM, 5/10, City pressed the Uruguayan into oblivion, but he also provided important moments of inspiration in midfield. Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, CM, 6/10, similarly pressed but made himself a nuisance off the ball, particularly down the stretch. Ryan Sessegnon, LWB, 6/10. After a timid first half, Sessegnon stepped up after the break and helped pull the City defense apart for Spurs' second. Dejan Kulusevski, RW, 8/10, continually looked a creative spark whenever fed, and his goal was well taken. Harry Kane, CF, 10/10, the perfect performance from a player City probably should have pursued harder last summer. Son Heung-min, LW, 8/10, Son simply loves a game against City. Superb on the counter and worthy of his 2 assists. Lucas Moura, LW, 80 for Son, 5/10 Matt Doherty, RWB, 83 for Emerson, 6/10 Davinson Sanchez, CB, 90 for Sessegnon, NA.